The town of Hollow Ridge had always been cloaked in mystery. Perched on the edge of a dense forest, it was a place where the mist never truly lifted, even on the sunniest days. The locals spoke in hushed tones about the fogwood, a stretch of trees where people claimed the shadows moved when no one was looking. Jenna, a journalist for a small-town newspaper, didn't believe in ghost stories. She had grown up rolling her eyes at tales of haunted woods and cursed lands. When her editor suggested an article on the fogwoods legends, she decided to explore it herself. A few eerie trees and some old myths wouldn't faze her. On a brisk October evening, Jenna parked her car on the dirt road leading to the forest. The sun was setting and the fog thickened, swirling like smoke around her boots. Armed with a flashlight and a voice recorder, she ventured into the trees. The deeper she went, the quieter it became. The usual sounds of the forest, chirping, crickets, rustling leaves, vanished, replaced by an oppressive silence. Her flashlight beam cut through the fog, illuminating gnarled roots and twisted branches. "This is Jenna Matthews," she said into a recorder. Her voice sounded too loud in the stillness. "I'm investigating the legends of the fogwood. Locals claim to have seen shadowy figures moving through the mist, but so far, there's nothing unusual here." As if in response, a branch snapped somewhere behind her. Jenna froze. Slowly, she turned, her flashlight sweeping through the fog. Nothing. "No, robot doctor. Just an animal," she whispered, more to herself than to the recorder. But her pulse quickened. She walked on, the path narrowing. The fog grew thicker, clinging to her like damp cotton. The air felt colder now, almost freezing. Suddenly, she noticed something strange. The shadows cast by her flashlight weren't behaving normally. They twisted and stretched in ways that defied logic, some reaching toward her as if alive. The second spike, her body thrilled, and her mind raced back to body rule number 1. The spider memories. Jenna stopped. Her breath came in shallow gasps, visible in the icy air. The silence was unbearable. She decided to turn back, retracing her steps. That's when she heard it, a faint whisper. It was soft, almost indistinguishable from the rustle of leaves. But it was there, repeating her name. "Jenna." She spun around, the beam of her flashlight darting wildly. "Who's there?" she demanded, her voice shaking. The whisper grew louder, coming from all directions. Panic surged through her. She began to run, her flashlight bouncing with every step. The shadows danced around her, stretching impossibly long, their movements deliberate and sinister. "Jenna, stay." The voice was closer now, almost in her ear. She screamed, her footing slipping on the damp ground. She fell hard, the flashlight skittering out of her grasp. The world spun as she scrambled to her feet, blindly groping for the light. Her fingers brushed against something cold and slimy. She recoiled, but it wasn't the flashlight. It was a hand. A figure loomed out of the fog, its form indistinct but undeniably human-like. Its face was featureless, a swirling void where eyes and a mouth should have been. The hand it extended toward her was impossibly long, fingers like tendrils. Jenna screamed again and bolted, her legs burned as she ran. The fog growing thicker, heavier. She could hear them now. Footsteps, whispers, the sound of something dragging itself closer and closer. Finally, she burst out of the forest and onto the dirt road. Gasping for air, she collapsed next to her car, her heart pounding like a drum. The fog seemed to stop at the edge of the trees, retreating as if it couldn't leave its domain. Jenna fumbled with her keys, started the car, and sped away, the misty forest shrinking in her rearview mirror. She never wrote the article. In the days that followed, she avoided the fogwood, avoided thinking about what she'd seen. But at night, as she lay in bed, she could still hear the whispers. She was surprised at how often they came to her. "Getting a whisper means getting nowhere," she would say. "Jenna, sleep."